Hello everyone! Welcome to Australia and welcome to Australian Book Travels. This week we find ourselves on the eastern slopes of the Great Dividing Range in the southern tablelands of New South Wales, where the historic gold mining town of Braidwood sits. Braidwood has a population of approximately 1,700, with an average yearly rainfall of around 670 millimetres. It is located around about 200 kilometres southwest of Sydney, approximately 730 kilometres northeast of Melbourne, and 690 kilometres northeast of Bendigo. And it is very nicely situated 60 kilometres from the coast. Braidwood is in Walbunga country in the Yuin Nation land. The Walbunga people use this area for sustenance, with native vegetables such as the tubers of the yam daisy and wild orchid, and also wattle seeds. Fish and crayfish were also amongst their diet, as well as possum and large grazing animals. After colonisation and by the 1850s, the Indigenous population in the area declined dramatically. This was due to introduced diseases such as smallpox, syphilis and influenza, as well as the destruction of the natural environment and the denial of access to traditional food sources and the water supply that had supported the Aboriginal tribes for centuries. When Dr. Thomas Braidwood Wilson, the Surgeon Superintendent of ships taking convicts to New South Wales and Van Diemen's Land, now known as Tasmania, in 1824, he was given 2,560 acres on the two tributaries of Flood, Shoalhaven and Monkitty Creeks. In 1833, the west end of this land was reserved for a town, Braidwood, which was surveyed in 1839. Eventually, Wilson owned and controlled 12,305 acres in the locale. He died in 1843 and is buried on a block of land high on a hill overlooking the town. There is a memorial and large pine tree to mark his burial site, but it is not open to the public. Early on, Braidwood had an interesting relationship with the law. It is where the first Royal Commission into police misconduct and corruption in the district took place in 1867, where it was reported that police shielded convicts and their illegal activities, and the police department was unruly, unkempt, and unreliable. Furthermore, Australia's famous bushrange brothers, Thomas and John Clark, and their families lived, conducted their business, and were eventually apprehended after a reign of terror and robberies, to subsequently be taken to Sydney for execution.
So also, that was last year, so I'm not around the week.
As a point of interest, Braidwood has been the setting for a number of films. The 1920s version of Robbery Under Arms and the 1987 box office success The Year My Voice Broke are to name but two. Judith Wright, an Australian poet, conservationist and Aboriginal rights campaigner, hails from Braidwood, as does James Fraser, the first native-born Commissioner of Railways. Braidwood is also home to its own newspaper, the Braidwood Times, and community radio 88.9 FM.
apartment I rented with you. Remembering the holiday party we had with the crew. Romeo was roaming the garden. Saturday was spent in a parking lot. Gave it all we got. It was so with you. Following the leader down 8th Street to get what we can. Crawl up the walls, make a few calls to the man. Promising the prominent angle. Find the square feet of the triangular man who always had the land. What's new?
Today, Braidwood, as a reasonably large town, has an amazing working showcase of Australian 19th century history, where artists, writers and tree changers have helped preserve and contribute to this history. There are many wonderful artisan retail shops, with a chocolate shop and bookshop as my favourite, Museums, accommodation facilities and service centres making Braidwood not just a tourist attraction, but a sustainable and economically viable town. It takes more than a day to fully embrace what Braidwood has to offer. A visit to either the Monga or Dea National Park is a whole day visit alone, not to mention the historic town walks. So a long-term stay, or at least a long weekend away, is recommended. We leave Braidwood for now and take our travels to another country town next week, where we are always on the lookout for bookshops, libraries and street-free libraries. So please join us then. In the meantime, happy reading, safe travels, take care everyone. Bye for now.